Hey, welcome to the Superpower Radio Show with your host, Brenda Major,
Mia Dawson.
and we are back giving you again some just valuable information. Now, we are so fortunate because this community is so varied and there's so many incredible people doing incredible things. And so we're just in that sweet spot where we're just presenting them to you. And we're hoping that you are getting the most out of this. It's always been informative for us. So, we are not professionals, we are not diagnosticians, we are not clinicians, but we do have caring hearts. And we know that there is so much information out there that needs to be shared. And so we're just really blessed to be in that position to do that. And so we are again here sharing with you today. And I know some of you may be thinking, okay, our topic is going to be about water safety. And I used to think that was automatically, okay, well, go into the pool. And I think I'm the only one on this call who isn't a swimmer. So, but it's not just that. So we are here today with Dayna Harvey. She likes to be called Miss Dayna. And she is really, I think, just an incredibly passionate person about the importance of water safety. So welcome to the show, Dayna.
Thank you for having me, ladies. I appreciate it so much. The great opportunity to share with your community.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've enjoyed getting to know you on your blog, and you've got so much great information out there. You have such a wide variety of things that you've done and in your background. Could you share a little bit of that and then tell us, why you're so passionate about water safety?
So absolutely. So I have been around water my whole life. I was recruited onto swim team. I think I was 5 or 6. I swam. Yeah, I know I was really young.
Yeah.
And so I went through swim team. When I was 16, I took all of my lifeguarding and my teaching certifications, coaching certifications. So for the next, kind of 14 years, I guess, I guess I was 28 to 29. I coached, I taught lessons, I ran my own swim lesson business through that. But really for me, and the really important part of this community for me started back in 98. That was the first time as a swim coach I was introduced to autism. I had a swimmer that I was working with and really struggling to get not results like ribbons and medals, but just to have him, in practice where it was being effective and I was being a coach for him. And I mean, it was just really ineffective. I had not experienced something. And he was about 10 or 11. So his parents, I asked to have a meeting with them. And they said, oh, sure. And I explained to them what was going on and how I felt I was really failing their son. And they said words I will never forget. They said, our son has been diagnosed. And I'd never heard that word before, really. And they said, but we don't want people to know because we don't want him to be labeled. Well, it was in that moment. Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So you wouldn't have possibly known that, one, that he had autism, or two, really much about what it was at that point.
At all. Like that really was the first time. And again, I mean, I've been teaching for a long time. Really now when I look back, I could probably point to some children that maybe if they weren't autistic, that they were neurodivergent in one way or another. But it wasn't a diagnosed thing. And then there was so much stigma to it. So it was in kind of that moment where I said, all right, I'm going to go and learn. I'm going to figure out ways I mean, I never wanted a family to feel like they couldn't tell me something about their child.
Right.
And I vowed that would be the last time. And so I've spent the last 25 years, a lot of it's just been kind of figuring it out as I go, but I've also taken some additional training with some different programs that work specifically with children with autism, or another program that's just specifically, or a little bit, sorry, not specifically, more wide range of, just special learners. So, but I have taught in my program so many kids that are on the spectrum of one degree or another. And
Mhm.
my program is one of the most recommended by one of our diagnostic doctors here. So reaching out and saying, you know, I'm not just a water safety educator. I really, truly understand where children with autism are, and even more than that, the lack of resources that their parents
Right.
have in this area. And I want to be able, excuse me, to be that person for them, where they can
Yeah.
come and ask questions and help them have a much more positive water experience.
It
Because
does.
in the end, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I'll let you take a drink there. I was just going to say, I was reading a statistic that said that children on the autism spectrum are 160 times more likely to
Yes,
drown than neurotypical. That
yes,
is
I
that
know.
surprising to you, or is that, just
Well,
makes you feel even more passionate about what it is that you're
it
doing?
does. I mean, because so water is sensory. Water looks away and it sounds away and it feels away. It even has its own smell. And, you know, for children who are sensory driven, they are going to be drawn to that. And
Mm.
that's fine if they have a skill set to be able to save their own lives if they end up in the water. And that's what's missing. And again, I think it's just a lack of resources for parents. It's difficult to find swim lessons for children who are on the spectrum. Swim lesson instructors in the United States do not need to be certified.
Hmm.
Zero.
Wow.
Okay. So you can go to
Hmm.
a place, whatever it is, I'm not even going to name a place, but you can go, you can have a 15 or 16-year-old child. We're teaching swimming lessons, no training, no mentoring, nothing. And then they be given a child that has special learning needs. And it's just really a recipe for disaster, or it can be.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Has it
So
always been that way where they didn't have to be certified?
so again, I'm Canadian.
Oh.
In Canada, we have to be certified. In the
Hmm.
US, like a private instructor like myself, there are no requirements for any certification at all. Like,
Wow.
and that's discouraging for me. And so and Mia, we were talking about this before, when you have a very negative experience, so now you have a child that is drawn to water and you do not have an experience that has taught them the skills they need to save their life. And
Hmm.
so that's really where a lot of this for me comes in. You asked about where the passion for water safety
Huh.
comes from.
Huh.
When you have people in your life who have experienced a drowning, a fatal drowning,
Hmm.
there's nothing I won't do to not allow it to happen. Nothing.
Hmm.
Like, I have not personally experienced it. I've never had fatal drowning within my swim schools. Um, but every day that I get up, it's to keep it from happening. Every single day. I don't want to experience it.
Wow.
Dayna, so I was telling a girlfriend today that, and I thought about it because I knew I was going to be on the show with you. I was in summer camp, and I was still in junior high. I was not in high school, and we went swimming, and they had everybody in the pool, and I knew how to swim. My parents taught me how to. We were in lessons when we were like between 3 and 5, so we knew how to swim.
Yes.
And this girl next to me was struggling, and she was drowning. That's what she was doing, and I was trying to help her, and she ended up taking me down with her, and the lifeguard had to jump in and get both of us. And
Yes.
so I learned a lesson there, that even though you think you can't swim, their panic of and she was freaking out and her arms were thrown, and I was just trying to help her, but all of that, especially me
Yeah.
being young, still trying to
Yeah.
help her, she took me down with her. And if the
Hmm.
lifeguard
Yes.
had jumped in, we both would have been, we wouldn't been here. And
Yeah.
so I even tell the boys that now, that, hey, I know you, and my boys are getting really good, even though Neo is on the spectrum. I tell the youngest is going to be the issue because he's just that personality. Hey, buddy, I know you think you know how to do this, but get someone or throw something out to him, because that experience for me, it scared me from when I continue to swim, like, ooh, I don't even want to get in to help because this young
Hmm.
lady took me down
Right.
with her.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's not taught. I think it's taught, you got to go out and save somebody. If you see somebody drowning and you're like, what? And I just have I had a different experience.
Yeah. And I think those experiences are what really drive us in so many ways. Like I said, I've not experienced it, but I know what happens. I'm connected to enough people. I've heard enough stories of tragedy. So I, have worked really hard over the last 36 years
Mm-hmm.
to it's not just about swim lessons. For me,
Yes.
water safety is a whole bucket of things, and
Okay.
that's what I've worked to create. So what I've written, one of the
Mhm.
things is called the Watching Initiative. And
Okay.
the watching, so everything starts and ends with watching. Like,
Hmm.
we can't use the word supervise. That makes me crazy.
Ah.
Adult supervision. Well, when you think of supervise, what do you think of? Like the road work going on outside where one person's working and 8 people are supervising?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
in the end, around the pool, honestly, with our phones, this is what supervising looks like.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you're right.
Oh,
You're absolutely right. I was there
So
today. You're absolutely right.
wow.
so
You're
for me,
absolutely right.
the word is watching. Watching means to be alertly on the lookout. So
Yeah.
if everything starts and ends with watching, we just have a better chance of being successful.
Mm-hmm.
So within the word watching, and we won't have time to go through all of them, but there's 8 different strategies.
Okay.
And the first 7, so the W, A, the T, the C, the H, the I, and the G, or the
Mhm.
I and the N, are all things that happen before you even get to water.
Really?
The G is get swim lessons. That is the last one. There are
That's the
7
last one.
things
Wow.
that parents can do before, that have nothing to do with the actual being in the water. And that to me is water safety.
Wow.
Water,
We're
That
gonna
is
definitely have to
amazing.
get those from you so we can post
Yes.
those for
So we
parents.
can
yeah.
post them. Yes. That is
And
amazing.
I bought a poster on the website. Families
Uh,
can go and download the poster, but I will give it to you guys, and then we can, just share it out that way as well. But it's not just one strategy. I think people feel like, okay, oh, I got swim lessons, we're good. Or, oh, my kids are in a life jacket, okay, we're good. Or, whatever it is, it's not one. They all have to work together. And with our children with ASD, it's even more critical that we have
Yeah.
multiple things going on at one time to keep them safe because of that statistic.
yeah.
160
And Dayna,
times
my
greater.
boys actually have private lessons right now. So they're in private lessons. But
Yes.
and like there's another kid that comes, I think he comes before or after, I can't remember. But you're right. When he's coming, he's all over the place. So they have extra guards out for him because he's moving all around. Like you're saying, he doesn't even understand. He wants to be in the water. He wants to touch it. He wants to run. He wants without understanding. So when you were telling that story, I said, she's absolutely right. I know that kid is running around the pool. They're trying to get him calm. They're trying to get him in the water to kind of understand, but he scares me. He's a safety hazard for me because I'm like, oh my gosh, he's running. Is somebody going to get him? But they increase the lifeguards at that time when they know he's coming to try to help.
So it is, teaching water safety or the respect of the water or those rules. Yes, it is about your instructor, but it is also something that has to happen at home. And for years, I taught a little boy, his name is Jax, and Jax is actually a big reason why the water safety kit that I've created exists. Because in lessons, Jax was prone to he was a runner.
Yeah.
There were many days he rode on my back in swimming lessons just so I could keep him in the water with me. But then, so I used a kickboard, a little blue kickboard that became kind of his grounding space. So when he wasn't working, that was his spot. And it took, his parents worked with me, and so they'd stand behind him, and if Jack stood up, no, we'd put him down until the point that, he was in an integrated class with 3 other students, and it wasn't because he learned about the rules around water and the respect around water. But again, his parents had a blue blue mat that they used at home.
I see it.
So
I see exactly what you're
So
saying.
beside the bathtub, or if they went on vacation, that
Right,
would
right.
go with them. So in the last year, I've
Mhm.
created, can you see on the board this whale, my orca?
Yes,
Oh,
yes, we
yeah.
can.
Cute
Yes.
little orca, yes.
So that's Wilson, and Wilson has ASD.
Oh,
And yeah, well, it was important to me that as when I was creating this program, that I wanted families to know I hear you.
you
Yeah.
I hear you, and I have something that is going to help make your life just so much better around water. So I created a water safety kit. So the mats that Jack's had
Okay.
before turned into like an actual mat. So
Actual mat.
Wilson gets his own little mat. So the mantra that we go with is where there is water, I will wait.
Ah,
Okay,
love it.
so we never entering water without an invitation or permission. So and that
Okay, does that mean even in like at home in a bathtub?
yes,
Okay.
Oh, good
it's
question, Brenda. That's a good question. Oh,
Because,
yeah.
it's
because I know parents who say, go in there and take your bath.
You're right.
And
Yep, you're
when you
right.
were talking about the difference between watching and supervising, and I mean, and these could be 2 or 3-year-old kids.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right.
And the other thing that struck me when I didn't think about how kids with ASD can be so drawn to water,
Yeah.
but
Yes.
even in their own bathtub. So I know you can't tell us everything tonight, but one thing that parents need to know at home, we're not even at the
Yeah.
pool, we're at the house.
no, exactly.
Yeah,
We
you're
haven't
right.
left our
So,
house yet.
so tell us what do these parents need to know? I mean, the steps 1 and 2 at least, because that
Yeah,
waiting,
you're right.
that got me.
So bathtub water is something we don't really think of it as a body of water,
Right.
You're
and
right.
it is.
Yep, you're right. We don't.
A young child, a little one under 3 or 4, probably 3, or for sure under the age of 1, it is the number 1 site of fatal drownings.
Wow.
Number 1 is a bathtub.
Wow.
Okay. And so we've got to begin to treat it with respect, right? Like
Okay.
we don't allow our children to stand at the stove and stir things and walk away. Same
Right.
with the bath.
True.
It is water, and it is a
True.
death trap.
Mm.
So
Mhm.
reminding parents that when you go to the bath, so this is actually where all of the I will wait starts. So
Okay.
I created this tape. It's red tape, and inside it says closed, I will wait. So parents put that up in their bathroom, wall to wall, strips of
Wow.
it. So every time they go into the bathroom, they're talking about, oh, it's closed. Remember, the bathroom's closed. We're not going in there because it's closed, it's closed, it's closed. And then when it's bath time, the children, they wait on their mat beside the bathtub. Parents get their shampoo, their towels, all their things. They put their phone away,
Mm.
and then we sit and we engage in a bathtub. We open the tape. We give that invitation to get in. We are fully engaged in that moment.
Yeah.
When bath time is over, we get out a towel, sit on a mat, we close it all up.
Wow.
So where there is water, I will wait. I don't care what the water is.
Wow.
And then the other thing I will say to parents, and I know it's a pain, but you must lock your bathroom door every time you leave.
Wow.
Because if you have a child that is old enough and understands enough to be able to turn the faucets on themselves,
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
and you are in a different room, it takes inches and it takes less than a minute. Okay, like or if when you leave the bathroom, again, drain the tub. Don't save for something or forget. Like we've got to have a checklist. Or
Yeah.
as seriously as we take other things in our children's lives, like car seats, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
We get the right car seat for the right age, for the right weight, it faces the right way, but yet it's not car accidents that are the number 1 killer of children. It is driving.
Wow.
Brenda, and you know what, she's right, because our little Isaiah is little, how he thinks. He was in the tub And I didn't really realize that he knew how to turn it on. He was trying to wash one of his action figures or somebody when he was little. And he got
Oh,
in the tub and I said, what in the world is going? And I thought, it wasn't like you said, you're in the house, you're not paying attention. And I heard the water turn on and I'm like, what are you doing? He says, I need to wash. I don't even know what it was.
Oh
It
my
was a bear. It
goodness.
was something. But
wow.
and I'm thinking about that now when she said he was able to turn it on. And I didn't even think in my head to tell him, don't go in there. This is not
It's closed.
Yeah.
it's
Well,
so quick.
what I love about the way that you're doing it is you're not doing it in a way that kids would be afraid. It's
Yes,
just this is a
yes,
procedure, like so many times when you mention the stove and people say, no, no, hot,
yes.
hot,
You're right.
And so
You're
you
gonna get
don't
burned.
want them to
Right.
think,
You're right.
and maybe that's why I never learned to swim. I don't know, but but
You're
it's not
right.
now, and I don't know. I don't even remember. But if they're afraid, if
Yes,
you make,
you're
if you
absolutely
make
right.
it say, don't go in there, you'll drown, but that's not what you're doing. It's
No,
just
She's
I,
not.
and it's more the parents and the way that they need to talk to their kids.
Correct. Correct.
I've
it is
never
this
heard this before. This is
Ever.
drown,
I've never heard it like that. Never. No.
wow.
drowning is not a kid problem. Drowning is an adult problem.
Mm,
Mm,
That
mm.
and we've got to be held accountable to our children deserve us to be fully engaged when we're
Yes.
around the water. And another time we can talk about life jackets and swim lessons or how to use this system at a pool. But it starts in our home, and every single day we can do this with our kids. Every day that our kids have a bath or a shower,
Or shower.
it doesn't matter. We can utilize this tool so the muscle memory in our mind says, "Ooh, that's closed. Water is closed. My adult's not looking at me.
Yeah.
My all of these things." And when people say, "Oh, well, kids with ASD, they won't understand that," I'll tell you otherwise.
Yes, they will. Yes, you're
They,
absolutely right. They will understand. And I'm so grateful for you even now because I could even tell Nehemiah, I know when he was going through therapy, they taught him how to wash his body and what he needed. And then, of course, my husband and I reinforced and had already did that, but they were teaching him, okay, you need to wash your body this way. But they didn't tell us nothing about no water safety. It was more
yeah.
so on get in the shower, make sure his body clean, do
mhm.
this. But there was not that did not get, and it hasn't gotten discussed even when we're doing lessons. I took lessons that never got discussed.
Critical. This
And
is
it was
critical.
like, put a life jacket on if you're in the ocean. I've been in the ocean several times. Just put a life jacket on. You're going to be safe. Well, you have I know you're going to tell us something else different even if we don't get into this show. You know,
Right?
it's something that we're learning. Brenda and I are definitely learning stuff. I've never heard this stuff before in my life. And I'm 44.
It is about educating. I the only way we do better is when we know better.
Yes,
Mhm.
ma'am. Yes,
We
ma'am.
I cannot continue to just, say words.
Yes, ma'am.
I want to teach you. I want to give you like so much education. You go to the website and I'll inundate you with it,
Mm-hmm.
but you will not ever say, "Oh, I didn't know."
Yeah.
Mm.
It is that important to me that parents understand they must be watching, like that they must all the time. If I say parents will watch, children will wait, families will swim. Again,
Mm,
I like
we're
that.
not letting our children into water by themselves. You
okay.
do it once, they don't understand that the next time they can't, and then they find themselves in water by themselves. Like this
Yeah,
is
and
all.
this is so critical. I mean, I remember I was in Kentucky last year and I was watching something on the news, a little 11-year-old boy. Um, yeah, and it was summertime, but it was nighttime. And
Oh,
walked into, left his house, walked through the woods and into a pond and
oh,
drowned. And immediately I thought, oh my God, I bet he's autistic. Oh my God. And
uh,
and just, I mean, just from being, just a little bit of information that I know from being around it, and supporting caregivers. And, and I just thought, oh my God, those parents must feel
Mm-hmm.
just
Mm-hmm.
unbelievably devastated and grief stricken. And I mean, and okay, parenting is hard.
Yeah.
And parenting of a superpower kid is harder.
Yes, it is. Yes, it
But
is.
what I appreciate is you giving these steps, and I know that the way that you're telling it to us, it's really making us feel educated and empowered, not like
Yes.
you don't know what you're doing, you should do this, you should do that. It's quite
Yes.
the
Yes.
opposite of that.
It is. It is.
Good. I'm glad. Because there's in no way, shape, or form do I want to talk down to anybody or
Correct.
like, why aren't you doing this? You know,
Mm-hmm.
I know it's not happening because I have visited like hundreds and hundreds of preschools and daycares and asking, what are you teaching on water safety? And they're not. So it's what I'm meant to do now. I'm meant to take this program that I started here in Virginia and say, if it works here, it will work everywhere. I
It sure
just
will.
need
It
parents
sure
to
will.
understand they've got to be an active participant in this. This is
Absolutely.
not a one-hit wonder. This is not something that takes 1 week and we're fixed. This
Right.
is a daily conversation with your special learners about water every day. I don't care if they, like Jax is nonverbal, the little boy that I taught. He doesn't
Yeah.
speak words, but he absolutely understands what Miss Dayna was asking him to do.
Okay.
So did it take longer than, maybe a
Oh yeah.
neurotypical child?
Mm-hmm.
Some,
Mm-hmm.
maybe,
Yeah. Some. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
but it's not doable.
you actually already answered my question, because we're nearing the end of this episode, but we're definitely going to have you back on.
Oh yeah.
I was
Oh
going
yeah.
to ask you what was the one message you wanted to leave with parents, but you just did it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
now I'm going to ask you, just in the couple of minutes we have left, what would you say, Dayna, is your superpower?
Mm.
I don't know. My superpower on a day-to-day basis is teaching the children that I have here in my program the skills to save their life.
Mm.
But on a
Mm.
grander scale now, I want to say my superpower is becoming, reaching more parents. And because of opportunities like what you're giving me, I'm going to be able to do that. So I've got one superpower that's fully fledged because I've been able to do it a long time.
Yeah.
But you're providing me now a platform to reach more parents, to be impactful on the complete water safety
Oh, yeah.
aspect, not just
Oh,
the one component of swim lessons.
I mean, I have to tell you,
oh gosh.
I don't know about you, Mia, but this is the most eye-opening show we've ever done.
I know. I am like so like, oh my gosh.
It's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
wow. So
Yes.
yeah, we're
Well,
definitely
we'll hang up and then call again.
Very empowering. You don't feel a sense of fear. Because Brenda's right. You've been taught fear when it comes to water. I mean, my parents taught us because somebody had drowned in my mother's family. So I mean, it was like my kids will not drown. So I mean,
yeah.
we
Learn
taught it
it or
generation
else.
from generation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want fear. Like you said, Brenda, I
Right.
want empowerment. I want parents to
Yeah.
feel like they know how to do this, and they
Yes.
have a resource in me and my website to be able to go to, ask questions, and they have a water safety kit that they can have in their home. And this is something that they can do every single day. Every
Yeah.
day.
As we're closing out this segment, and we're definitely going to have you back, tell
Oh, yeah.
us what your website is.
So it's watersafetywithmissdayna.com, and it's Dayna. So
Yeah,
you see it on the
Dayna,
thing.
Miss Dayna.
Yeah, water
And we're gonna
safety
leave
with,
it in our links and everything in
okay,
our yeah.
great.
Water
Yeah,
Safety with Miss
with
Dayna.
Miss Dayna. We've got
Well,
Facebook
Miss
and
Dayna,
Instagram,
you
and
have been incredible, and we're
thank you.
definitely going to have you back. You have been listening to and or watching the Superpower Radio Show with your host Brenda Major and
Mia Dawson.
special guest Miss Dayna, and we will see you and talk with you next time.
See you guys. Bye-bye.
Thanks, ladies.